The arrogant descent. They arrived without warning. Sleek, obsidian ships slicing through the clouds, casting shadows over cities across the globe. From New York to Nairobi, people stood frozen, necks craned skyward, watching as the skies filled with the impossible. The Alari Empire had come to conquer. Humanity barely had time to react before a booming voice echoed across all frequencies, translated into every known language. People of Earth, you are now property of the Alari Empire. Resistance is obsolete. Surrender, and you will be spared. World leaders scrambled for a coordinated response, but the Alari didn't wait. Dropships broke from the motherships, descending like arrows of black steel. They touched down in city centers with mechanical precision. Hatches hissed open and outstepped the invaders. They were tall, insectoid beings, their bodies encased in shimmering armor. Each stood over 7 feet tall, armed with rifles that crackled with violet plasma. Civilians screamed. Soldiers raised their weapons. Panic rippled like wildfire. And then, nothing. The aliens didn't open fire. They staggered. The first Alari out of the ship took 3 steps and fell hard, his armor crunching under his own weight. The second stumbled like a drunk, weapon dropping from trembling limbs. The third simply collapsed, gasping through a breathing apparatus that wheezed in protest. At first, it looked like a glitch, a malfunction, but it wasn't. Is this some kind of trick? A U.S. Army sergeant muttered, crouching behind a barricade in Times Square. He watched through binoculars as the alien squad twitched and groaned on the pavement. One tried to stand and immediately screamed, his exosuit sparking at the knees. Across the globe, the same scene repeated. Alari warriors dropping like flies. Not from bullets, not from bombs, but from Earth itself. It wasn't until Dr. M.I.A. Tran, a physicist in Geneva, reviewed satellite footage and medical data from captured aliens that the truth came crashing down, literally. They evolve on a planet with a gravity of 0.3 g, she explained to the UN Science Council. Their bones, muscles, and circulatory systems aren't built for Earth's gravity. Hey, everything weighs over 3 times what they're used to. Their armor wasn't malfunctioning. It was crushing them. News spread fast. Social media exploded with footage of collapsed aliens twitching on sidewalks. A viral post read, "We didn't defeat the aliens, Earth did." Military leaders seized the moment. No counter-invasion, no drawn-out war, just a simple realization. Earth's gravity was the strongest weapon they had. The Alari came expecting a quick victory, but they made a fatal mistake. They never tested their technology or their bodies against the relentless pull of this planet. And now they were paying for it. Gravity fights for Earth. The world watched in stunned silence, and then roared with defiant laughter. Alari shock troops, meant to dominate Earth within hours, were being carried off their own ships on stretchers. Their exosuits, designed for mobility and combat, were seizing up under the unrelenting pull of Earth's 1G. Internal supports buckled. Motors overheated. Hydraulic joints snapped with metal shrieks. What should have been a planetary conquest looked like a failed training exercise on the wrong battlefield. Human militaries, once bracing for extinction, quickly shifted tactics. They didn't need orbital weapons or AI targeting. Gravity was already doing the job. All they had to do was finish it. In Washington, D.C., Captain Elena Morales led a small unit of Marines through the outskirts of a Alari landing site. Instead of a firefight, they found half a dozen aliens crawling, wheezing, their armor dented from the strain of simply existing. "They are alive," one Marine whispered. "For now," Morales said, tightening her grip on her rifle. "Move in. Non-lethal if possible. Command wants them captured. Our scientists need more data." 3 minutes later, they had a high-ranking Alari officer bound and sedated. His breathing was shallow, limbs trembling like overcooked noodles. Across the globe, similar reports poured in. In the mountains of Nepal, alien walkers fell over trying to navigate rocky terrain. In the jungles of the Amazon, their drones crashed into trees, unable to stabilize in Earth's thick atmosphere. In rural Nigeria, villagers used fishing nets and gravity-fed traps to disable an entire patrol without firing a shot. On every continent, humans began fighting back, not with superior tech, but with clever traps, terrain manipulation, and low-tech ingenuity. In Poland, a group of farmers lured a lorry hovercraft onto a frozen lake. The weight of its crew cracked the ice, dragging it under. In Indonesia, schoolchildren jammed a downed alien suit's joints with pebbles and sand, turning it into a glorified statue. Earth's resistance wasn't just military, it was personal, and every captured alien revealed more about the flaw in their plan. Ilari biology relied on lightweight movement. Their hearts couldn't circulate blood properly under pressure. Their lungs couldn't expand fully. Their bones were thin, almost hollow. On Enveran, gravity was gentle. On Aeth, it was a constant, merciless force. Back in Geneva, Dr. Mia Tran updated the UN Science Council. We estimate a full-grown Ilari soldier loses 40% mobility within 6 hours of exposure. After 12 hours, organ failure begins. Without environmental suits, they die in under a day. The council sat in silence. Then the Secretary-General stood. "Then we don't fight the Ilari," he said. "We let Earth do the fighting." From mountain cliffs to crumbling cities, from coastlines to forests, Earth's terrain, and its gravity, became a global weapon. The planet had become a battlefield. And for the first time in recorded history, it was on our side. Collapse of an empire. Above the clouds, panic spread through the Ilari command fleet. The generals had no battlefield reports, only static and desperate shrieks. Video feeds showed troops crawling, exosuits twisted and ruptured, weapons dropped uselessly beside bodies that could barely lift themselves off the ground. Ilari High Commander Veljar slammed his clawed hand against the control table. "Deploy atmospheric drones. Engage at range. We cannot let them humiliate the Empire." Orbital swarms were launched, millions of autonomous combat drones designed to cleanse battlefields from above. On any other planet, they would have rained fire with impunity. But this was Earth. The drones dove into storm systems and electromagnetic chaos. Atmospheric density and ion interference scrambled guidance systems. Lightning cracked open dozens mid-air. The rest slammed into mountains, trees, oceans. Those that survived were intercepted by human missiles, low-tech by Ilari standards, but devastatingly effective. In Arizona, a USA Force unit took out an entire drone cluster using repurposed radar towers and jury-rig microwave bursts. In Kenya, Maasai warriors lured a grounded drone into a ravine using decoys and heat traps. Everywhere, humans adapted faster than the Ilari could react. The alien war machine was collapsing under the one force it couldn't overcome, Earth itself. Meanwhile, humanity's resistance had evolved into an organized counteroffensive. Former national militaries now operated as one global coalition. Soldiers, guerrillas, scientists, civilians, every human was fighting, and every fight leaned into Earth's physics. In Bolivia, human saboteurs triggered a landslide that buried a forward Ilari command bunker. In China, farmers dug trenches around alien landers, letting them sink under their own weight. Cities became mazes of concrete death, funneling alien units into ambushes they could neither flee nor fight. Back in the Andes, Colonel Ramirez examined a broken alien walker, its legs crumpled like paper under its own mass. He looked to his scout. "Status. They are retreating, sir. What's left of them is limping toward lowland zones. They think it'll lessen the gravity's impact." Ramirez grunted. "Then we hit them harder down there. Let the mountain do the work up here." In orbit, High Commander Veljar stared at Earth's blue surface in disbelief. This world had no planetary defenses, no space fleets, no superweapons. And yet, the Empire was losing. Not to lasers or bombs, but to terrain, weather, pressure, and gravity. In one final attempt to regain control, Veljar gave the order. "Prepare orbital bombardment. Scorch their resistance into ash." But the command ship's targeting systems flickered and failed. Earth's magnetic field, its atmospheric charge, the storm layers, it all disrupted orbital lock-on. They couldn't even aim properly. Earth had become unkillable. From space, the Empire had seen a ripe, defenseless world. From the ground, Earth showed its teeth. This wasn't just an invasion gone wrong. It was an empire unraveling under forces it never respected. And humanity was just getting started. Earth, the death world. The final Alari stronghold stood perched in the foothills of the Andes, what remained of their command post after weeks of retreat, failure, and defeat. Inside the fractured complex, Commander Veljar lay in a suspension cradle, his limbs broken, his breathing shallow. His once imposing figure now looked frail, bones compressed by the unyielding pull of Earth. Even the gravity-controlled cradle was failing, its stabilizers warped by dust, moisture, and local electromagnetic interference. "Status," he rasped. A technician, barely mobile himself, responded with a tremor in his voice. "No reinforcements. No evacuation corridor. The humans are surrounding us." Outside, human units advance with precision. From jungle-trained squads to alpine snipers, from resistance fighters armed with captured alien rifles to militias wielding hand-forged blades, humanity had united like never before. Captain Elena Morales, now leading one of the final assaults, paused behind a ridge overlooking the complex. Her squad crouched beside her, weapons ready. "Remember," she said, "most of them can't even walk. Let gravity do its job. We go in, we finish this. For Earth." They moved quickly. No orbital support, no drones, just boots on the ground, exploiting every slope, every boulder, every breathless moment the aliens endured. By the time they breached the complex, Ilari's soldiers were surrendering without resistance. Many lay collapsed in corridors, their armor cracked, limbs bent in unnatural angles. They didn't beg. They couldn't. Morales stepped into the command chamber and faced Veljar. He tried to lift his head and failed. You are a violent species. Crude, unworthy of conquest." She approached slowly, the floor groaning beneath her boots. "You didn't lose to us because we were stronger," she said. "You lost because you never respected this planet. You thought you could conquer Earth without understanding it." Veljar's eye stalks twitched. "This world resists everything." She nodded. "We call it home." The message of the Ilari defeat spread across the stars. Captured ships, wounded prisoners, and broken technology were paraded before Earth's cameras. The transmission, sent on open frequencies, reached every listening empire and federation in the galaxy. "This is Earth. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, but this is our world, and if you set foot on it, it will tear you apart before we ever have to lift a finger." The galaxy watched in silence. On Envarin, the Ilari homeworld, whispers of rebellion began. Across the outer colonies, conquered species saw hope. And Earth became legend. A death world, not because of monsters or volcanoes or storms, but because of gravity itself. A place so hostile to outsiders that even the stars couldn't tame it. As the last Ilari ships retreated, limping out of orbit with less than half their original fleet, humanity stood victorious, not through superior weapons or ancient magic, but because their planet had their back. Elena Morales looked up at the night sky. "They came to rule us," she said, "and left crawling.